Hello my friends, and welcome to Paulina Art. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how I paint a loose floral on a greeting card. I purchased these blank cards with envelopes at Amazon. I'm going to leave a link below of these cards, and I'm going to show you step by step how I created this greeting card using the Paulina Acrylic Ink set. This acrylic ink set creates a beautiful watercolor effect and is perfect for loose florals, loose abstractive florals in my opinion. I've just reviewed this ink set. If you would like to see the review of the ink set, I'm going to link it up here somewhere. If you would like to see how I painted this greeting card, stay with me and let's paint together. So this is the white card that I'm going to use for the hand-painted greeting card. The brand that I buy is called Ohuhu, and I purchased them through Amazon. They come, all the cards, with envelopes, and basically you just have to fold the card. And here is my card ready to be painted. And what I do is I tape the card on a hard surface. This is the lid of one of my tubs where I store acrylic paint. I purchased this at IKEA, and basically is the lid, and I don't mind if it gets stained with paint. So what I do is the painting is going to be here, and what I do is I have some paper here taped, because this is going to prevent paint from splattering on the back of the card. So I'm going to keep it there. Here's the paper. The painter's tape is on the paper, so it's not going to be attached to the card. And in the corners of the card, I apply a very small amount of painter's tape right in the corner there. And this will prevent the card from curling with the paint, the wetness of the paint. Now, I normally use very fluid watercolors to do this. I find it easier than watercolors. What I normally use is my Paulina Art acrylic paint set. I've done a review for that paint set. I'm going to link it up here. But today, as you know, I'm going to be using the Paulina Art acrylic ink set. So I'm going to paint some tulips in this card. When you do a hand painted card with flowers or maybe a little still life, you want it to be very painterly and not overly work. First, because you don't have a lot of surface to paint on, and secondly, I feel they look much nicer if they're more loose and painterly. When you paint a card on paper, there's not a lot of room for mistakes, so you have to plan where everything is going to go on the card. That's why it's better to keep it simple. Now on this one, I'm going to paint some tulips, and you can do a drawing or a few lines here. Don't go very hard with your pencil, just a few guidelines, because you don't want the pencil to show through the paint. So the idea I have for this card, I'm going to add some leaves here, and the tulips are going to come out. So I'm going to add a few leaves in here. I'm just going to show the area. You probably won't be able to see it because it's so light, but basically at the bottom corner here, I'm going to put the leaves of the tulips, and I'm going to add the heads of the tulips up here, very, very lightly. I'm going to have a few tulips poking up here. This is just going to guide me. I can barely see it myself, to be honest. Okay, and you want smaller brushes. I'm going to use this filbert brush, and I'm going to use an angle brush. So they're not super small, but they're not big either, because the brushes have to be in proportion with the size of your surface. I have some water here, and this is an old jar, all stained, but I have some rocks at the bottom. And actually these rocks really help to clean your brushes, because when you clean your brushes, the rocks help to remove the paint from them. That's just a little bonus tip from me. Let's start painting the tulips. The tulips are going to be in warm colors, and the leaves obviously in a cooler tone because they're going to be green. And because the background is white, I want to make sure these tulips pop. I'm not going to add white on the edges or anything like that because you're not going to see them. And always start with light colors and light layers. I'm going to lay out all the colors on my palette. And before I do that, I'm going to shade these acrylic inks really well. And I'm just going to put a drop on my palette. And the white is not a very opaque white. So I'm going to use this one basically to mix with other colors. And see how runny they are? These ones are already mixing together. Anyways, I got here all my warm colors, my blues and purple, and my yellow, ochre, burnt umber, some of the greens here. I'm going to start with the light colors. Do some of the leaves down here. And by having just a very, very light sketch, it's going to help me to place the flowers. I got some of the darker green. You can mix the colors to create new colors. And I add some yellow. They mix very, very easily, and if you see it dripping like that, it's totally fine. I like it. Gives it more of a painterly watercolor effect. Always have some paper towels, so after you rinse your brush, you can remove the excess water. Okay, I'm going to move to the flowers, and you don't have to paint the same that I'm painting. I'm just giving you an idea how you can do it. I'm trying to see where I have the drawing, which is extremely, extremely light. See how you can use these inks to create that nice watercolor effect? These colors mix very, very easily. These acrylic inks mix extremely easily. So if you don't want the colors to get muddy, make sure you rinse the brush after each color. And here's the last one. I mix the scarlet with the white to create this soft pink. And as you can see, I'm starting with the very light colors and then adding the darker colors. I'm going to do the stems. Now, I have used the same brush for the whole painting, this Filbert brush. It was very inexpensive, I believe, from a set I purchased at Amazon. If I find it, I'll link it below. I'm gonna add some teal for some color variety. I'm gonna add some couple of leaves at the back. These are lighter because they're behind. I mix the phthalo blue with the white to create a bluish color that I can add. This is the violet color. Okay, this is how it's looking so far. I'm going to add a bit of a background, not too much, in some areas. Maybe with some drippies in here. To finish this painting, I splattered some violet and a bit of orange, not overdoing it, just to give it a more painterly look. So what I do is I allow the card to completely dry. I don't remove the card from here until the card is dry. And if you see a bit of curling even after the card has dried, you can put it between a couple of heavy books, and this will completely flatten the card. Once the card is dry, I gently remove the tape, which is only at the corners, and I reuse often so it's not very sticky. I use this for all the cards unless it's not sticking anymore. And it's not going to cause any damage to your card. And you simply remove it and fold it, and you have a beautiful card. So here is the final result. I have signed the card with a silver Sharpie. I sign all my paints with a silver Sharpie. I think this is very classy. It looks very pretty. And I've also attach a label at the back with my name and my website. Now, if you don't have a website, you can put your name on your Facebook page or your Instagram page. This way, you're not only giving to family and friends a beautiful hand-painted original, but you're also promoting your business. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. I hope you learned something new. Please comment below. Let me know if you would like to see more tutorials using the acrylic inks. If you like this video, you know what to do. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.